Hi everybody, welcome to our third Monday training. I just have some housekeeping things. I'll be sending out a letter, or actually it'll come from Amanda, but the letter will include some year-end things that everyone will need to do. First is on the travel. You can't set up a TA right now for October because we don't have an index. And so if you send it in, then I will have to send it back to you because we don't have an index at this moment in time. Probably will by the end of today, and then we'll get you the instructions on how to do the TA and what the index is for that. The next thing is on day one of conference. That's the day that we're going to have our stakeholders and our legislators there. So if you could dress a little nicer, it's business casual, so however you want to do that. And then the next couple days, we'll actually be giving you three different shirts, so you can wear those, so you can wear Levi's or whatever you think is comfortable. If you could go in and mute your, okay, we got it. Mics, that's helpful for the recording as well as the training. Just a reminder that hotel check-in is at 3. Food Sense covers the cost of the hotel and of the food. And so our expectation is that since you registered that you will be there as part of your job. It does cost us money if you don't show up for food or your room. So that's something to note. And then hotel checkout is on October 4th at 10. We'll include a variety of meals. That first night will be on your own, but we'll pay per diem for you. And I'll have all this written up. Like I said, we'll have a map of how to get there. It's the same hotel we stayed at last year. We'll also send you what hours count as part of the training. So we count your travel time and the time in meetings, and we'll send that to you in this note. We will be asking you to send back, when you get this email, your iPad identifier number. And so please note that you will need to respond to this email when it comes. And I can't send it, we're not sending it until we have the index number so that you're able to do your TA. Supervisors, we'd like you to share your iPad identifiers as well and to do the inventory on that. Okay, now we're going to turn the time over to Jocelyn for a second.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to include one last reminder. If you've been hosting a Facebook page and we want to report that as indirect education in PEARS, and that would be due at the end of this month. And for those of you that have been providing indirect education over Facebook and you realize you have 6 months that you need to report on, you can do that in one single entry. Rather than doing, say, month to month to month, you could go in and do 3 or 5 or 6 months all at one time. I don't recommend that from that point forward, but if you're realizing that you took over your county Facebook page and it hasn't been reported on, you can do a large chunk of time at once in PEARS. You just put the date that you're reporting on and then do the report on that in Facebook. But if you have any questions, if you're able and willing to go ahead and put your Facebook indirect education into PEARS and you have questions on that, shoot me an email. I'm happy to help all month to give you credit for that work being done.
Thank you. Lacey. All right. I'm going to share a screen here. I guess first I want to share for annual conference, if you all could help me out to determine who your representative is. Most counties I can tell easily, but definitely the urban Wasatch Front counties, it's hard to know where you live and which district you're in. And if you already know, would you please just type that into the chat, just name and you do the number of your district, or just say Love, Stewart, Bishop.
Clarify what district means.
Yeah, this is for Congress, your congressional district, where you live. For example, here in Cache, we're in the 1st congressional district with Rob Bishop. I know that it's Washington, Kane County, that's the 2nd congressional district. district with Stewart. A lot of the east side of Utah County is the 3rd district with Curtis, and then I know Mia loves like the east side or west side of Utah County, part of Salt Lake. So yeah, that's the little test. If you don't know it, we'll send out a link where you can type in your zip code for your home address. We just want to be able to have everyone sitting with their district representatives for those who can, and then also, you know, the senators will be for everyone. The other thing I'd like to share is we are going to support the Utah State Board of Education in the greatest punch on earth. On Wednesday, October 17th, it's a statewide activity. I have a guide that I can send any NEAs who are interested in participating. So you get to register the event, and the whole purpose is to promote farm to fork to school, but specifically for local farms. And that's why you'll purchase apples that are grown locally. There's a list of places where you can purchase them throughout the state. And we have stickers that we'll send to your office that you can share with the kids when they try the different apples. They have some recipes, or you can use food sense recipes to have some samples and some fun activities, books that have to do with apples and promotional materials. So if any of you are really interested in participating in the Greatest Punch, please send me an email and I'll get all the materials that you need and we can talk about logistics and all that. But it seems pretty fun. And now that we've talked about apples, we're going to go on to pears with Leslie.
All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I get to do today's training. I'm going to be sharing about PEARS Closeout for the end of September. September is an exciting time around here. The Utah State campus is buzzing now with new students, and we've got to celebrate family meal times. And now we get to do our PEARS Closeout. Now, any of you seasoned Food Sense employees, do you want to share what a PEARS Closeout is? Anybody who's been here between September and October? That's all right. I can share it with you today. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a few slides for us to look at. Okay, so the end of September is essentially the end of our grant year. You may have heard it called different things. It could be called the end of our funding year or fiscal year or reporting year. And that just means it's the date that we switch over from our last grant, 2017 to 2018, to 2018 to 2019. And in PEARS, we want our data to be accurate and reflect all of the work that we've done in our current grant year. And so this is the time that we get to go in and complete all of our entries that we've done in PEARS. So I'm going to go through that with you today on how to do that. I'm always available if you have questions following the training today. But something that we're doing a little bit different this year is we're going to send out a checklist for you. Amanda will be sending this out today to everyone, and it's just a way for you to stay organized because we're going to have you just double check all of the entries you've done this year as a county so that we know that our data is as accurate as possible. So look for this in your email. This is something that I'm going to have you return back to me. I've got a date on here of October 2nd, so that's right before conference. If you're the kind of person who prints it out and makes notes and checks it off, you can return it to me at conference. That's not a problem at all. It'll also be sent out as a PDF that you can edit. so that you can keep it just on your desktop and add check marks and questions or things that you want me to look at. And so this is going to be sent out to everyone, and feel free to use it individually, but I would like you to return it back to me as a county, just so that I have a full list of, just so that I can check that everybody's taking care of what they need to. And so you can see here that I've got listed out program activities, success stories, partnerships and coalitions, indirect activities in social media, and then any of the PSE work that you've done entries on this year. And so it gives you a checklist to go through things to look for duplicates. Sometimes, internet speeds can be bad, and a duplicate ends up getting submitted twice of the same entry, things like that. These are the kinds of things that we want to clean up. So if you've been really good and stayed on top of your PEARS entries and made sure that they're complete and perfect, this is going to be a really easy process for you. But if you haven't, that's okay. There's still time. So we'll be sending this out today. Just need to go to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to start here with program activities. So a lot of the times people have questions about series. So when you teach a series of classes and say you're going to have a series that continues on to the next grant year, we're going to have you complete what you've done in this year, this reporting year, and open up a new series for the next year. Okay? And with program activities, you'll also need to check and make sure that all of your surveys are attached, all of the participant forms that you've collected. It's just to double check and make sure that that's all entered. When the reporting period closes in PEARS, it essentially gets locked. It gets locked down so that we can't go back and edit it to keep the integrity of our data. So this is your chance now, in these next couple weeks, to make sure that your data and your entries are as perfect as possible. So like I said, so the top 3 things I guess with program activities are to look for any duplicates, to see if any of those have popped up, to make sure that all of your survey instruments are attached. And then also, if it's going to be a series that will continue on to the next year, you still need to close it out, complete it, and then you'll start a new one for the new grant reporting period. And I just have some instructions here from PEARS on how to mark the activity as complete. Essentially, you just fill out all of the information with the red stars, and then the last button, mark as complete. Okay, do I have any questions so far? Okay.
I do, Leslie. It's Ashley from Wayne. So as I'm closing out, what do I do with like Kate's stuff that I can't really go in and look at?
That's a great question. So I have the ability that I can give permission to NEAs to edit other NEAs entries. So if you're in Ashley's position that you've come in and an NEA has left and he or she has incomplete entries, just shoot me an email and I'll give you access so that you can go in and finish those out. And just do it to the best of your ability. You might not know if she had survey instruments or had things like that. And so if you have their contact information, you could reach out to them and just make sure, is there anything that you were holding off on entering into PEARS? If you don't, then just do the best you can. But yeah, thanks for asking that. That's great.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, moving on to indirect, and this is going to include your social media entries that Jocelyn just talked about. And if you've been putting those off, you can add them in as one entry that could include multiple months. We're okay with that. Okay, so you just need to basically check and see if there's any duplicates of your indirect activities. I would assume a lot of these are already complete because they're just a one-time activity usually. And so a lot of these should be complete, but I would like you to look for duplicates to see if anything is in there twice or multiple times, and then to make sure and have that little check mark and mark it as complete. If things aren't complete, then when I pull my reports, they won't be included in our data. And so, like Jocelyn said, we want you to get the recognition, and we want you to be able to show off and show all that you've done this year. And we put it in lots of reports. We're going to be putting together an annual report that this is all vital to go into. So please make sure that you have all those check marks, that it's all complete. Okay, and next we've got our PSE work. And so PSE, I talked with Casey about this, and we just want to make sure that everyone understands that you only have one PEARS entry for each PSE site per year. Okay, so even if you have multiple NEAs working at the same site, we want you working off of the same PEARS entry. We want to be able to show that change throughout the year, and then we're going to close it here at the end of September and start a new entry for that same site so that we can show the work that'll be done during this next reporting period. Okay, and so that is going to include your readiness assessments. I'm going to switch now to PEARS real quick and just give you an example. Okay, so here I've just got my list of PSE site activities, and I'm going to click into a test one that Casey created. And over here in the Needs, Readiness, and Effectiveness tab, we have our assessments. So many of you who are working on PSE work, whether that be in your food pantries or in corner stores, convenience stores, you did an assessment at the beginning of your work. Okay, and so now is the time to go in and do that assessment again. It's called a follow-up. So you go into your entry, find your assessment, and click Edit. Okay, so this will pop up your lovely assessment score. And then after you've done your assessment, your checklist at your PSE site, you can type in your follow-up assessment score. Okay, and if by chance you did not do a beginning assessment of your PSE site, that's okay. You don't necessarily have anything to follow up with. So what you're going to do is an assessment at the beginning of the next year. So meaning in October, you'll create another entry for your site, and you'll do the assessment then. Okay, any questions there?
Hey, Leslie, I just wanted to clarify the assessment tools for the retail settings and for the food pantries are the ones that are available on the staff website. It's called Healthy Food Pantry Assessment or something to that, something similar to that. So just a reminder for those of you who use those assessment tools at the beginning of this fiscal year, those tools are still available on our staff website for you to use. So you use the same assessment tool for both your baseline assessment and your follow-up score.
Perfect. I was just going to show that for you, and I got duoed.
Yeah.
Always happens, right? Oh, that's not the right one. I want this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's just going to be here in the Food Sense staff website under PSE tab, and you've got your Healthy Pantry Snapshot Assessment Tool, and then right down here you should have your store one as well. let's see. Yep. Would that be in the retail settings toolkit?
It's 2 down from that, the thumbs up retail store observation form. We'll
Oh,
switch these for next year.
perfect.
They're
Right
both-
there. Yeah. Yeah, and we can switch that to say assessment tool, or if we want to keep it as observation form, that works fine. But this is where you'll find those. And it'll look familiar if you did the assessment at the beginning of your site. And so you are completing this same form and just adding your follow-up score. Perfect. Thanks, Casey.
And as everyone is aware, a main part of our program is to evaluate and to show that we are making a difference where we're at, whether it's with individuals or with pantries and our PSE efforts. So this is something that we need to do. So come October, we just need to meet all those requirements.
And I think everyone will be really excited next year. Leslie and I have been working on some tools for how to fill out the PSE entries for each of our pick list strategies. So we'll be rolling those out at our annual conference. So I think that'll help clarify a lot of the questions about how to go about filling out a PSE activity, because it is definitely a little more complicated than some of the other ones.
Yep. But we want to make it as uncomplicated as possible. So we've been working on some new instructions for you to make it a little more user-friendly. And we really appreciate all of the PSE work that everyone is doing. And we're excited to see what happens this next year. I'm going to go back to my slides now. Okay, and just once again, want to reiterate Ashley's question that if you are working at a PSC site and an NEA has left the one who started it, I can give you permission to edit that. And we will be closing out all PSE entries and starting new ones for those same sites if you'll be working in them for the next reporting period for the next year.
Leslie, this is Mariana.
Yeah.
Hi, Mariana. On the PSC where you were talking about doing the assessment tool, I don't think I did that for my food pantry. So if I've not done it, do I need to go back in and do it for this year and then do a follow-up for this year, or just not worry about it? 'Cause I'm not I didn't even realize that was on the website. So
right, no, that's okay, and that's a great question. No, we're gonna have you not worry about it for this year. But beginning in October, you'll start a new entry for that site, and we'll have you start with an assessment.
thank you.
Yep, no problem. So next September, you'll get to do the follow-up. And I think that's exciting, because then you get to see the change that happens. That's what we're all about. And like Heidi said, I just want to reiterate how important evaluation is. This gives us a chance to really let you guys shine and show all of the great work that you're doing. We will have, so at conference, so we want everything done in pairs by the 30th, and then we'll have a 2-week break. I'll show you here. You get to take a vacation from PEARS from October 1st to October 15th. That's going to be a no-enter PEARS week and a half, I believe it is, or 2 weeks. And so you'll get everything completed, and then we'll have a break, and that's going to be my time to go in and double-check all of your work. So I need your help. I need you to do the best you can to check your work and to close it out. And then I have a couple weeks to go in and make sure that it's all done. And if I have any questions, I'll reach out to you. And then we will start our new reporting period on October 16th. So that'll be the day that you'll be able to start entering your new entries. And so keep teaching. If you have classes set, for beginning of October, end of September, keep doing those, but start on your closing out now. so that it can all be completed by September 30th. Like I said, it shouldn't be too difficult of a process, but if you have any questions, I'm available. You can email me or call me anytime, and I'm happy to help. So do you guys have any last questions? All right. Okay.
Leslie, thank you so much for providing this training. I think it's been really intuitive and helpful. And I hope that if you guys need help, you always know that our state office is here to assist you in performing your job. So if you need help with this, Leslie's available. This video will be available again to rewatch. I forgot two